What's going on, everybody? As always, it's a blessing to be here, and welcome to UL Exchange. If you guys are new to this channel, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel with the bell notification so you can be notified every single time I drop information packed videos just like the one you're watching right now. By that being said, guys, today's video will be getting into how David Schwartz spoke on the private ledger and XRP price going to $10,000 and more. So David Schwartz had something to say about the private ledger. So we go through a couple screenshots that I took, taking us back to 2019. So we'll read those texts, or 2019. We'll read those. Basically, we'll go through those tweets, and then after that, we'll discuss about what's truly going on, what's truly happening with XRP within the sights of our eyes, within the sights of the creators of XRP, and come to conclusion to where will it land in the future pertaining to the price of it, and also pertaining to the technology, who will be using it as well. So we have all those things to discuss. So now let us begin. So first thing we'll take a look at will be this first tweet by XRP Man, and he stated saying this. I'll put it up on the right here so you guys can take a look as well. He said, at Joel Katz, that's David Schwartz, some seem to think there is the ledger and a hidden ledger. In fact, one for retail and one for institutional, that will eventually be merged together. This is my understanding. Seems ridiculous, as protocol rules state one state is valid and it's immutable. He said it's immutable. Immutable meaning object whose state cannot be moderated after its creation. So to XRP Man's understanding, it seems ridiculous that they're basically implementing a private ledger if it's already been created in the beginning, or if when XRP was created, it cannot be modified. This is what he's saying. So if it's created in the beginning, the private ledger should have been created in the beginning as well. And here comes a tweet from David Schwartz, Joel Katz, saying, it's hard to imagine what such a merger would look like. Is it hard to imagine because it already occurred? Let's see. Again, he could have said a simple statement, guys. If we're taking a look at the previous instance, or the beginning of a thread by XRP Man 1, he could have said, no, there is no private ledger. There's only one, which is a public ledger. Or he could have simply stated, yes, there is a private ledger which banks use to transfer money privately, and there's also a public ledger as well. But he concluded to say this. It's hard to imagine what such a merger would look like. It would have to follow the rules of the public ledger. That means whatever happens on the public ledger would technically have to happen on the private ledger. You know, the X Ripple symbol or the XRP symbol is basically like whatever is up, same as below, or same as up is same as below. So whatever happens on the public ledger has to happen on the private ledger. He's basically telling us there is truly a private ledger. But we'll get into it. It's kind of funny. I was actually thinking just today about how cool it would be if you could run the XRP ledger software in a private ledger mode and later bridge it together. I hope you all are understanding this. He's basically saying, yes, there is a private ledger and it has been started from the beginning of the creation of XRP. The only thing happening now is what? The private ledger is hidden. And he even said himself, it's actually funny he's thinking about it today. So is he truly thinking about it today, or did it truly happen at the beginning and the creation of XRP? If you could run on the XRP ledger software in a private ledger mode and later bridge it together, ledger mode, or did he mean to say a private ledger node? The public ledger and the private ledger are on two separate nodes. Continuing on, he said, of course, later bridge to the public ledger. Whatever price we see on the private ledger has to be the same on the public ledger. So whatever price the banks have come to agreement saying, let's transfer 1 XRP. So, hey, you guys, let's say England versus United States. So let's just say England over here, United States over here. They're telling them, hey, you guys owe us $1 million. And do you want to send, it's at 40 cents. So do you want to send over 400,000 XRP? Or do you want to send 1 XRP and we can both agree that it's $1 million? Sure, let's just send 1, transfer in less than 3.5 seconds, and you receive the $1 million. Quick, simple, easy, discussable, done. They already agreed on the value of the XRP token. So what happens between them two? The agreements bring the value of the 1 XRP single token to $1 million. He said, for example, you could have an asset issued on both ledgers that's bridged together. One world currency, the bridge currency. It's in the name, it's in the pudding. The bridge currency to what? The world bridge currency is connecting the private and public ledger together and bringing all the other CBDCs together. You could have an asset issued on both ledgers that's bridged by the validators of the private ledger who multi-sign taxes for the public ledger. It's also, or it's actually a cool use case to cut taxes, fees, and scale. Cut taxes and fees while you're scaling on top. XRP is limited to 100 billion total supply. And the circulating supply is only around 50 billion. That leaves the price of XRP to make sure it's high and efficient and stable. Don't forget stable, for it to be moving all these things, for it to scale, for it to be going through all these transactions. You can't really merge, David Schwartz continued on saying, you can't really merge the ledgers, but you can allow people on one side to move an asset to the other. That means you can allow people to move on the private ledger and move it to the public ledger. It's much like the way Bitstamp had the private ledger with USD on it. Their exchange, but also gateways USD on the XRP ledger. USD on the XRP ledger. That means all the CBDCs will flow through XRP ledger. Every single thing in the world will flow through the XRP ledger. The debt, as we talked about before, the currencies, everyone's paychecks, everything will flow through the XRP ledger. The CBDCs that include all the world global currencies will flow through the XRP ledger. And that was in 2019. So now we're moving on to recent 2022 November. It started another thread. So 2019, fast forward 3 years, 20, 21, 22. Now, a tweet from Legend93 says, replying to Joel Katz, is it possible for XRP? This is after all we've seen so many coincidences, so-called coincidences and glitches, which I don't believe in. They're not coincidences, it's just the XRP private ledger bleeding into the public ledger. And we are basically able to see it. Is it possible for XRP to have a value on the private ledger that's different from the public ledger? Pay attention to these questions. The private ledger, what did David Schwartz state before? He said the private ledger and the public ledger have to have the same amount of money, or the valuation on the public and the private have to be the same if they do flow through each other. So this question is very interesting. The reply from David Schwartz states, I quote, it would be very strange for them to be more than very slightly different. So slightly meaning what? $1, $100 maximum. We'll even push it to the crazy amount being maximum $1,000 difference. Correct? Because he said it would be very strange for them to be more than very slightly different. If you can easily move assets between them to world bridge currency. It's not just for CBDCs. It's for the private ledger to flow through the XRP public ledger. The different nodes combined into one. Every single thing leads to the one factor at the end of the day, guys. Everything is connected. If you can easily move assets between them, why would the value be different? Exactly. So if you're moving 1 million XRP worth, equivalent to 1 XRP, and you move it to the public ledger and it's only 36 cents, it makes no sense. You basically lost over $999,000. So how does it make sense if you're moving something from the private to the public, or the public for the private, and their equivalence being completely different? That doesn't quantify the reasoning of what XRP is built for. And he said, if you can easily move assets between them, why would the value be different? That's a great question. There shouldn't be any difference. So even the $1,000 differentiation I'm giving it is to the extreme, which that shouldn't even happen. And if you can't easily move assets between them, why would you call them both XRP? That's a great question. So if the private ledger and the public ledger were completely different, they might as well call the private ledger David Schwartz or something. I'm just coming up with another thing. So DS, cryptocurrency called DS, or cryptocurrency called like Ripple, because there is no Ripple cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency is XRP. So they could use Ripple cryptocurrency, so-called, for the private ledger, and XRP for the public ledger, but that's not how it's working. XRP is used for both the public and the private ledger combined. So the price has to be one. Continuing on, another tweet, they said, could you wrap XRP on a side chain with different liquidity needs than the public ledger and facilitate those payments with the W, or wrapped XRP, causing the price of wrapped XRP to be significantly different than the price of XRP on the public ledger? Great question. And he said this: if the price is higher, then people will just wrap more XRP until the price comes down. If the price is lower, then people will just unwrap more XRP until the price goes back up. The exception would be if it's really hard to wrap and unwrap, in which case it really isn't WRX at all. So what is he saying with this? You can do both ways, but it causes the price to go up and up down doesn't really matter. Guys, please pay attention. Now we'll go through a clip of David Schwartz, the CTO at Ripple, speaking with Thinking Crypto host Tony Edwards, and what he had to say about this back then. Let me play you guys this clip.
Another question that came up, and I don't know if this makes sense, but the question is, will the value of XRP be the same in the private ledgers as it is on the public?
Yes. The value proposition of XRP is that it has these liquidity pools. If it doesn't make sense to isolate, and they would buy gold somewhere else and they would sell it there. Unless the only way that you can have the value be very different in two places is if there's a lot of friction. And if there's friction, someone will make a business of removing that friction. So I don't see any realistic scenario where XRP has significantly different value unless something's wrong. So like a good example of a case, there was a time where the value of XRP, where the value of XRP in some Asian countries was very high, but that was because there were capital controls, right? That was because things were bad. I think that's a sign that something is not going well. The value proposition of XRP is that you can take it to all, can only be used in jewelry. You're like, well, that kind of sucks. I don't want that gold, right? The value proposition of gold is that you have access to the entire value proposition of gold. And so I don't see any scenario in which where it makes sense to snip pieces off, again, unless something is wrong.
Well, I appreciate all of you guys for joining me so far to this video, guys. God bless you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And I hope you got yourself educated on the difference between the public and the private ledger and how that could coordinate the price to be one. With that being said, I love y'all. I'm Crypto E with your exchange. I'll see you guys in the next video. Subscribe and share this with anybody that's interested in the crypto or finance markets. I'll see you in the next video. God bless. Peace out.